NENOMATICA, where mathematics meets YouTube excellence. Let's begin by analyzing the structure of this equation. We need to find the value of x that satisfies this equation. Let's start by recalling the properties of exponents. For any value x, we know that x to the power of a times x to the power of b equals x to the power of a plus b. However, in our problem, we have addition of powers, not multiplication. The left side has x to the power of a plus x to the power of b, which is different from the multiplication property. Let's consider a specific case to help us understand what's happening. Let's substitute values to see when this equation could be true. Let's introduce new variables to make our work easier. Let's call m equals x to the power of a and n equals x to the power of b. With these substitutions, our equation becomes m plus n equals m times n. Let's rearrange this to standard form. M times n minus m minus n equals 0. We can factor this as m times n minus m minus n plus 1 equals 1. Further factorizing, the quantity 1 minus m times the quantity 1 minus n equals 1. Now let's observe that since m and n are x to powers, and x is what we're looking for, we need values of m and n that satisfy our equation. For positive values of x, and assuming a and b are positive, both m and n will be greater than 1. This means 1 minus m is less than or equal to 0, and 1 minus n is less than or equal to 0. The product of two non-positive numbers is non-negative, but our equation requires this product to equal 1. The only way this works is if both 1 minus m equals negative 1 and 1 minus n equals negative 1, which means m equals 2 and n equals 2. Recalling our substitution, m equals x to the power of a and n equals x to the power of b. So we have x to the power of a equals 2 and x to the power of b equals 2. This means that x to the power of a equals x to the power of b, which implies that it equals b for any positive real values of a and b, and if x to the power of a implies that it equals b for any positive real values of a and b, and if x to the power of a equals 2, then x equals 2 to the power of 1 over a. But since it equals b, and we need to satisfy both equations, we must have x equals 2, and it equals b equals 1. Let's verify our solution by substituting x equals 2, I equals 1, and b equals 1 into our original equation. The left side becomes 2 to the power of 1 plus 2 to the power of 1, which equals 2 plus 2, which equals 4. The right side becomes 2 to the power of 1 plus 1, which equals 2 to the power of 2, which equals 4. The left side equals the right side, so our solution is correct. Quick challenge. What would happen if we tried other values? Let's try x equals 4, a equals 1/2, and b equals 1/2. The left side would be 4 to the power of 1/2 plus 4 to the power of 1/2, which equals 2 plus 2, which equals 4. The right side other values. Let's try x equals 4, a equals 1/2, and b equals 1/2. The left side would be 4 to the power of 1/2 plus 4 to the power of 1/2, which equals 2 plus 2, which equals 4. The right side would be 4 to the power of 1/2 plus 1/2, which equals 4 to the power of 1, which equals 4. This is also a valid solution. In fact, we can generalize our solution. Let's examine this mathematical Olympiad problem. We need to find the largest real number, m, such that the inequality a squared plus b to the power of 1389 is greater than or equal to m times a times b holds for all a and b in the interval from 0 to 1 inclusive. Let's first understand what it means for a and b to be in the interval from 0 to 1. This means both a and b are non-negative real numbers that can range from 0 to 1, inclusive, so they can be 0, 1, or any decimal value in between. Following the solution process shown in the image, we'll substitute a equals b squared into the inequality. This is a strategic choice to help us simplify and analyze the problem. Let's substitute a equals b squared into our original inequality. This gives us b to the power of 4 plus b to the power of 1389 is greater than or equal to m times b squared times b, which simplifies to m times b cubed. Now, we'll factor out b cubed from the left side. This gives us b cubed times the quantity b plus b to the power of 1386 is greater than or equal to m times b cubed. Since we're assuming b is positive for this analysis, we can divide both sides by b cubed. Now comes the key insight. As stated in the image, if we consider very small values of b approaching 0, the term b plus b to the power of 1386 will approach 0 as well. For any positive m, we could find a sufficiently small b that makes b plus b to the power of 1386 less than m, which would violate our inequality. Therefore, the largest possible value of m that satisfies our inequality for all a and b in the interval from 0 to 1 is 0. This is because for any positive m, we can find values of a and b within our interval that violate the inequality. However, when m equals 0, the inequality becomes a squared plus b to the power of 1389 is greater than or equal to 0, which is always true for all a and b in the interval from 0 to 1. Let's summarize what we've learned. We examined the inequality a squared plus b to the power of 1389 is greater than or equal to m times a times b for a and b in the interval from 0 to 1. By using the substitution approach and analyzing the behavior as b approaches 0, we found that the largest possible value of m is 0. This problem demonstrates an important technique in mathematical analysis, examining boundary and limiting cases to find extremal values. You can practice similar problems by exploring different exponents or constraints. In today's video, we're going to solve an exponential equation and find how many integer solutions it has. Let's start with our problem. We need to find how many integer solutions the equation 5 raised to the power of 2 times x plus 1 plus 621 times 10 to the power of x equals 100 times 4 to the power of x. Let's start by simplifying the first term on the left side of the equation. We'll use the power rule, which states that a to the power of m times n equals a to the power of m times a to the power of n. So 5 to the power of 2 times x plus 1 equals 5 to the power of 2x plus 2. We can further break this down to 5 squared times 5 to the power of 2x. 5 squared is 25, so we get 25 times 5 squared to the power of x. This simplifies to 25 times 25 to the power of x. Now, let's substitute this simplified expression back into our original equation. Our equation becomes 25 times 25 to the power of x plus 621 times 10 to the power of x equals 100 times 4 to the power of x. Now, let's make some observations about 10 to the power of x and 4 to the power of x. For 10 to the power of x, we can use the fact that 10 equals 5 times 2. So 10 to the power of x equals 5 to the power of x times 2 to the power of x. Similarly, for 4 to the power of x, we know that 4 equals 2 squared. So 4 to the power of x equals 2 squared to the power of x, which equals 2 to the power of 2x. To simplify our equation further, let's divide both sides by 4 to the power of x, which is 2 to the power of 2x. When we divide both sides of an equation by the same non-zero expression, the resulting equation has the same solutions. On the left side, we'll divide 25 times 25 to the power of x by 2 to the power of 2x, and we'll divide 621 times 10 to the power of x by 2 to the power of 2x. On the right side, we'll divide 100 times 4 to the power of x by 4 to the power of x. Let's calculate each part. For the first term, we get 25 times 25 to the power of x divided by 4 to the power of x. For the second term, we have 621 times 10 to the power of x divided by 4 to the power of x. And on the right side, we get 100. Now, let's rewrite our equation with these simplifications. We have 25 times the quantity 25 over 4 to the power of x, plus 621 times the quantity 10 over 4 to the power of x, equals 100. Let's simplify the fractions. 25 over 4 equals 5 squared over 2 squared, which equals 5 over 2, quantity squared. And 10 over 4 equals 5 over 2. So our equation becomes 25 times 5 over 2 quantity squared to the power of x, plus 621 times 5 over 2 to the power of x, equals 100. Let's further simplify using the power property. The quantity 5 over 2 squared to the power of x equals 5 over 2 to the power of 2x. But we can observe that 5 over 2 to the power of 2x is the square of 5 over 2 to the power of x. Let's make a substitution to simplify our work. Let t equal 5 over 2 to the power of x. With this substitution, our equation becomes 25 times t squared plus 621 times t equals 100. Now we have a quadratic equation in terms of t. Let's rearrange it into standard form by subtracting 100 from both sides. So we get 25t squared plus 621t minus 100 equals 0. To solve this quadratic equation, we'll use factoring. After some work, we can factor this as 25t minus 4 times t plus 25 equals 0. Now we can find the values of t by using the zero product property. If a product of factors equals 0, then at least one of the factors must be 0. So either 25t minus 4 equals 0 or t plus 25 equals 0. From the first equation, we get t equals 4 over 25. From the second equation, we get t equals negative 25. Now we need to check which value of t is valid for our original problem. Remember, t equals 5 over 2 to the power of x. Since 5 over 2 is positive, 5 over 2 to the power of x must also be positive for any real value of x. So t must be positive. This means we must reject t equals negative 25, and our only valid solution is t equals 4 over 25. Now we need to find the value of x that gives us t equals 4 over 25. We have t equals 5 over 2 to the power of x equals 4 over 25. Let's rewrite 4 over 25. 4 over 25 equals 2 squared over 5 squared, which equals 2 over 5 quantity squared. Alternatively, we can write 4 over 25 as 5 over 2 to the power of negative 2. So we have 5 over 2 to the power of x equals 5 over 2 to the power of negative 2. When we have the same base raised to different powers, and those expressions are equal, then the exponents must be equal. So we have x equals negative 2. Let's verify this is correct by substituting back into our original equation. And indeed, when we substitute x equals negative 2 into our original equation, both sides are equal. Therefore, our equation has exactly one integer solution, x equals negative 2. Welcome to our math video. Today we'll solve a system of exponential equations and find the value of x minus y. Let's look at our example. We have a system of two equations. The first equation is 9 raised to the power of quantity x minus y over 2 minus 2 times 3 raised to the power of quantity x minus y over 2 equals 3. The second equation is x plus y equals 4. We need to find the value of x minus y. Let's solve this problem step by step. We'll start by introducing a substitution to simplify our approach. Let's define a as 3 raised to the power of quantity x minus y over 2. So a equals 3 raised to the power of quantity x minus y over 2. Now, looking at the first equation, we can rewrite it in terms of a. Now, let's simplify this further. We know that 9 raised to the power of quantity x minus y over 2 is equivalent to 3 squared raised to the power of quantity x minus y over 2. By the laws of exponents, this equals 3 raised to the power of quantity x minus y, which is a squared. Now, we have a quadratic equation in terms of a. Let's rearrange it to standard form. A squared minus 2a minus 3 equals 0. Let's factor this quadratic equation to find the values of a. We need to find two numbers that multiply to give negative 3 and add up to negative 2. Those numbers are negative 3 and 1. So we can factor this as a minus 3, a plus 1 equals 0. From this factored form, we can find the values of a, either a minus 3 equals 0, which gives us a equals 3, or a plus 1 equals 0, which gives us a equals negative 1. Now, let's analyze these values. Remember that a equals 3 raised to the power of quantity x minus y over 2. So if a equals 3, then x minus y over 2 equals 1, which means x minus y equals 2. Similarly, if a equals negative 1, then 3 raised to the power of quantity x minus y over 2 equals negative 1. But this is impossible because any power of 3 must be positive. So we reject this solution. Therefore, we have determined that x minus y equals 2. Let's verify this answer by checking if it satisfies our original system of equations. If x minus y equals 2, then, for the first equation, 9 raised to the power of 1 minus 2 times 3 raised to the power of 1 equals 3. That simplifies to 9 minus 2 times 3 equals 3, which is 9 minus 6 equals 3. This is true. For the second equation, we know that x plus y equals 4 and x minus y equals 2. These values are consistent with each other. Let's summarize what we've learned. To solve this system of exponential equations, we made a substitution that simplified the complex exponential expression. We used properties of exponents to rewrite the equation. We converted the equation to a quadratic and factored it. We found possible values for our substitution variable. We checked which value was valid. We determined that x minus y equals 2. This approach of making substitutions is very powerful for solving complex equations, especially those involving exponentials and logarithms. Today we're going to learn how to solve exponential equations where we have different bases. Let's take a look at this example. Let's solve the exponential equation 5 to the power of x minus 3 to the power of x equals 16. Step 1. We'll divide both sides of the equation by 5 to the x. This gives us 1 minus 3 to the x divided by 5 to the x equals 16 divided by 5 to the x. Step 2. Let's simplify the left side of the equation. When we divide 5 to the x by itself, we get 1. And for the second term, we can rewrite 3 to the x divided by 5 to the x as 3 divided by 5 to the power of x using the division rule of exponents. Step 3. Let's rearrange the equation to isolate the fraction terms. We can add the fraction 3 over 5 to the power of x to both sides, giving us 1 equals 16 divided by 5 to the x plus 3 over 5 to the power of x. Step 4. Now we need to find a value of x that satisfies this equation. Let's try x equals 2 and check if it works. When x equals 2, we have 1 equals 16 divided by 5 squared plus 3 over 5 squared. This gives us 1 equals 16 divided by 25 plus 9 divided by 25. Simplifying, we get 1 equals 16 over 25 plus 9 over 25, which equals 25 over 25, or exactly 1. Since our result equals 1, we verified that x equals 2 is indeed a solution. Let me also show you how we could have solved this by working backwards. If we start with the equation 5 to the x minus 3 to the x equals 16, and we suspect that x equals 2 might be a solution, we can check directly. When x equals 2, 5 squared equals 25, and 3 squared equals 9. So we get 25 minus 9 equals 16, which is true. Therefore, x equals 2 is our solution. Let's summarize what we've learned about solving exponential equations. When solving exponential equations with different bases, first, try to isolate the terms to make them easier to work with. Use properties of exponents to simplify expressions. Sometimes trying a specific value can lead to the solution. Always verify your answer in the original equation. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more math lessons. NENOMATICA, where mathematics meets YouTube excellence.